Well, guys, let's discuss general knowledge. Today's set of questions would have the usual stuff: politics, economics, and of course, banking. Here's the first question: which of the following statements about the Reserve Bank of India's first bi-monthly monetary policy statement for financial year 22 are true? Financial year 22 means the one that started on 1st of April this year and the one that would end on 31st of March of next year. So you have this bi-monthly, so it comes about once every 2 months, April, May, then again in June, like that. So a repo rate remains unchanged. These are the highlights. Which of these are true? This is true. Repo rate, reverse repo rate didn't change. The RBI retained GDP growth forecast. Yes, it also retained this. No. So what's this is all of them are true. So I would suggest that you take some notes on this. Okay, right? RBI bi-monthly MPS. RBI's first bi-monthly monetary policy statement. Okay, so underline that first point. Repo rate dash unchanged at 4%. Unchanged at 4%. So now let's write what's repo rate. Okay, dash, continue there, dash rate of interest charged by the RBI on rate of interest charged by the RBI on short-term loans to commercial banks. Next, second point, reverse repo dash unchanged at 3.35%. Dash rate of interest on short-term loans charged by the short-term loans by the SBI by commercial banks rate of interest charged by commercial banks on short-term loans to the RBI. Rate of interest charged by the commercial banks on short-term loans to the Reserve Bank of India. Short term usually is less than a year. In economics, that's how it works. Next, inflation target. Next point, inflation target at 4%. With margin of 2% on either side. 2% on either side. This plus or minus 2%. 2% on either side for another 5-year period. For another 5-year period ending March 2026. To repeat, inflation target at 4% with margin of plus or minus 2%, or at margin of 2% on either side for a 5-year period ending in March 2026. Okay, next. So the upper band for inflation is 6%. That's what it means. Currently for March inflation has been, this is April, we are in April, March inflation has been 5.52%. So it's still below the upper band. Next, inflation forecast. Inflation forecast for, sorry, not at, for H1, this is Q1 and Q2, quarter 1 and quarter 2, H1 of financial year 22 is 5.2%. 5.2%. So it's going to be the same for Q1 and Q2. That's why I mentioned it as H1. Okay. Next Q3. So for Q3 it is going to be 4.4%. Inflation target 4.4%. Q4 5.1%. 5.1%. So you can see that it's likely to be a little over. It's likely to be an average of over around 5% basically. So 5.2% in H1, the first 6 months of this financial year, and the third quarter would see an inflation forecast of 4.4%. It's going to come down. That would be more to do with bumper food grain supply and everything. Yeah, bumper crop, because the normal monsoon has been forecast by a private meteorological agency called SkyMet. And the fourth quarter of inflation is expected to be around 5.1%. Now, you look at the third point. The RBI has retained GDP growth forecast at 10.5%. So what does this mean? Please write. Next. Annual growth forecast. Annual GDP growth forecast. Annual GDP growth forecast for FY22 dash 10.5%. 10.5%. 10.5%. Below that, next point, quarter-wise growth. Quarter-wise growth rates. Q1. So you write like this, okay? You can put a star mark or hash. This is called, we call it a hash. We call it a hash. Technically it's called an octothorpe. I'll just write it here for information, okay? Octothorpe. There is a technical word for it. Anyway, you could write any, you could put any symbol. Q1 26%. 26%, yes. April, May, June growth is likely to be 26%. Next, Q2. This is 26%. This is 8.3%. Okay. Q3 5.4%, and this is likely to be 6.2%. Yes. Now you may be wondering, why is it that we would grow such a huge number, percentage growth in Q1? See, unlike in the West, in India, what we do is we always measure growth over a corresponding period in the previous financial year. Okay. So if you look at the previous financial year, Q1 of 2021, that is last year, you look at last financial year, first 3 months, April, May, June, there was a lockdown. The growth had tanked. In fact, it had been in the negative territory. So over that 26%, because the base was extremely low in the negative territory, a little growth has become huge at 26%. That's how it is. Okay. Whereas in the West, see, in America and all, what they do is they look at, let's say, they're looking at growth of Q2. They will measure Q2 growth over Q1's growth. In India, we look at the previous year's corresponding period. Okay, not the previous quarter, but previous year's same period. That's it. Okay, that's a pretty simple discussion we have had on this. Chaliye. Who has recently been appointed as the chairman and managing director of the Small Industries Development Bank of India for a period of 3 years. Well, S. Raman has been recommended. His name has been recommended by the Banks Bureau Board, Banks Bureau Board, and please understand that for a long time it has had no chairman. SIDBI has had no chairman for some time now, because the previous chairman was Muhammad Mustafa. After his superannuation, the post of CMD was empty, vacant for some time. So now his name has been recommended, S. Raman. Coming to the names here, Sandeep Bakshi will take a couple of names. Sandeep Bakshi, my friends, is the CEO of ICICI Bank. CEO of ICICI Bank, and this is the chairman of NABARD. Govindrajul Chintala is the chairman of NABARD. What about SIDBI? Why don't you write about SIDBI? Small Industries Development Bank of India, established 1990. Head office Lucknow. Then notice Lucknow. Then main financial institution for MSMEs. Main financial institution for micro, small and medium enterprises. So it provides capital financing to small, medium and micro business units. Next. World Health Day is observed on 7th April every year. The theme for this year's, we are looking at a fairer, healthier world. Fairer means everyone would have similar access to, better health and all. But given that now we see that it's not fair, the world is not fair. We see that people don't have equal access. There is an unequal access to a lot of stuff, especially given the coronavirus pandemic. We're looking at vaccines. So unequal access. Poor countries don't have any access to vaccines today. Whatever access they have had is through the WHO's Gavi coalition, of course, and India's vaccine diplomacy. But for that, almost no poor country has access to vaccines. Why don't we write about WHO? I'll tell you something why this is observed on 7th April. Okay, right. WHO, first point, set up on 7th April 1948. 7th April 1948. And this is the reason why the World Health Day is observed on 7th April. On that day in 1948, 1948, the World Health Organization was set up. Next, head office, Geneva, Switzerland. Next, what's the name of the Director General? We all have heard of him, Dr. Tedros Adhanom. And next, Chief Scientist, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan. Dr. Soumya Swaminathan. Okay, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan. Next, right, CEO of the WHO Foundation. CEO of the WHO Foundation dash Anil Soni. Anil Soni. Anil Soni. So that's a little about this. To recapture, World Health Day is observed for the precise reason that on this day in 1948, the WHO was set up in Geneva, Switzerland. Now, it's a specialized agency of the United Nations, UN, United Nations Organization. Its Director General is Tedros Adhanom, and he belongs to Ethiopia. If you want to write this, Ethiopia. Ethiopia. The current chief scientist of the WHO is Soumya Swaminathan, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan. Next, the CEO, the first CEO of the World Health Organization Foundation, the WHO Foundation, is Anil Soni. Anil Soni. That was revision. Now, if you want to look at the themes once again, this was last year's theme, 2020's theme, nurses and midwives. Nurses and midwives. Okay. This is, if I'm not wrong, 2016's theme. 2016. This is 2019. Okay. Yeah. And if there are too many themes we've discussed. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the President of Seychelles have jointly inaugurated several Indian projects in Seychelles. The President of Seychelles is Veval Ram Kalawan. Veval Ram Kalawan. This is where is his place. Before you look at the choices, this is Seychelles. Yeah, this group of pirates. This one. Okay, it's a tiny place, very tiny place, so tiny that it has population of 99,000, and at less than 99,000, it's the smallest or the least populated African country. Before that, let's write Seychelles. Right, Seychelles. Dash capital Victoria. Yeah, Victoria. This is the president, Veval Ram Kalawan. Veval Ram Kalawan. Currency is rupee. Veval Ram Kalawan. Currency is Seychelles rupee. Simply write rupee. You can write one more point. Least populated African country. Least populated African country. African country. Dash less than 99,000. Less than 99,000. Less than 99,000. Okay. So let's look at the choices. Antonio Costa, Prime Minister of Portugal. These guys are all of Indian origin. They are persons of Indian origin. Antonio Costa, Portugal's Prime Minister. Leo Varadkar, ex-Prime Minister of Ireland. He is no longer the Prime Minister of Ireland. Michael Higgins is the current Prime Minister of Ireland. But Leo Varadkar was first openly gay Prime Minister of the predominantly staunchly Catholic nation of Ireland. Rishi Sunak is, he is the Finance Minister, or you could write Chancellor of the Exchequer. Chancellor of the British Exchequer. British Exchequer. Simply put, Finance Minister of Britain. Chancellor of the Exchequer. British Finance Minister. Okay. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Prime Minister of Mauritius. Prime Minister of Mauritius. Okay. Now I would want to tell you something here about these countries. Look at this. This is Seychelles. This is Mauritius. These are all part of Africa. Okay. You look at Madagascar. Madagascar is the fourth biggest island in the world. Okay. But among nations as such, it is the second biggest island country in the world. Which is the biggest island country? This is the biggest island country. Indonesia is the biggest island country. Okay, this, but island wise, it's a fourth. And what's the difference between an island country and this? See, we look at this. Indonesia, it's a country of islands, over 17,000 islands. But none of its islands is significantly larger than the top 3 in the world. Okay, but on its east, further east, basically, you have this island called New Guinea Island. New Guinea Island. Okay? This New Guinea Island, it's actually, you can go little, east, you will find New Guinea. The western portion of the New Guinea Island is, is called Papua New Guinea, a separate country. The eastern part of the island is part of the island country of Indonesia. The island is split into two. Western part is a separate country, independent country called Papua New Guinea. Eastern part is part of Indonesia. But overall, the island of New Guinea is the second biggest island in the world. Okay, which is the biggest island? Greenland. If you look at the third biggest island in the world, this is Borneo. It's Borneo. B-O-R-N-E-O, Borneo. Now you look at this. Borneo is the third biggest island in the world, but it comprises 3 countries. So you have the southern part, Indonesia. These are all Indonesia below this line. Above this line is Malaysia, but within this portion here you have an independent kingdom called Brunei. Got it? So if you look at just island countries, complete one, that island, if that island is a country, Indonesia is the largest island country because it is completely island based country. Second is Madagascar. I'll come to Madagascar. I think we have a question on Madagascar. At one point about 11 crore years back, Madagascar was a part of South India. So India was here and it moved up. This broke up, and it remained where it is, but Indian plate, pushed this particular part of land up and we became a part of Asia while they remained where they are. Okay. Which foreign government is setting up a $59 million fund to help migrants from Hong Kong settle in the country? United Kingdom. This is Hong Kong. So this is Hong Kong. This small portion here you see. This is Macau. Below it, you would below Hong Kong and Macau you would find SAR. SAR is Special Autonomous Region. Special Administrative Region. Special Administrative Region. See, okay, why don't you write this? It's very easy to write. It's Hong Kong dash Hong Kong 1,100 square kilometers. 1,100 square kilometers. Population of 75 lakh. So area is 1,100 square kilometers and the population is 75 lakh. That would make it one of the most densely populated territories in the world. Next. In 1842, next point. In 1842, the region around Hong Kong was taken over by Britain by Britain, 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 after defeating the Chinese emperor in the 1842 Opium War, in the 1842 First Opium War. First Opium War. Okay. 1842 First Opium War. Next. In 1898, next point. In 1898, Britain took this area. Britain took this territory on a 99-year lease. On a 99-year lease, 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 from the Chinese emperor. Full stop. Next point. In July 1997, Hong Kong was handed back to. Hong Kong was handed over or handed back, both are fine, to China. After the end of the lease. Full stop. Last point. China promised Britain that it would continue to administer Hong Kong under one nation, two systems rule. One nation, two systems rule till 2047. That's 50 years. One nation, two systems means China, mainland China. This is called mainland China. Okay, this is called mainland China. Mainland China would have, it's a single party system, no democracy, no freedoms, nothing exists. It's a single party authoritarian despotic system, whereas Hong Kong is a multi-party democratic system. So China said that we will continue with the democratic setup till about 2047. Now, recently they came up with all kinds of weird rules wherein which threaten democracy. This is not the place to discuss all that. A lot of people want to leave Hong Kong now, and Britain has said that as a former colonial power, we will welcome any persons from Hong Kong, if they would want to move overseas to Britain. We'll expedite the process of visas, residency, all that stuff for people who would want to leave Hong Kong and come to Britain. Okay, so that's the story, my friends. So someday I'll tell you the story of how they cut China into pieces before China eventually got independence. Hong Kong's CEO, you could write, there is a CEO of Hong Kong, Carrie Lam. carry lab. That should be fine, my friends. Yeah. This like Hong Kong, Macau. Macau was ruled by Portugal for almost 400 years. Next. By partnering with which nation did India announce the launch of a strategic partnership in water security sector and the setting up of a fast-track mechanism to facilitate bilateral trade? Netherlands. You could write this, Netherlands. See, Netherlands is a global power in water management, my friends. Why? What makes it so different? Because of some reason, geographic reasons. You could write this, Netherlands dash, Netherlands, capital Amsterdam. It's a constitutional monarchy. There is a Raja and there is a Prime Minister. The Raja is Willem Alexander, not important for us. The Prime Minister is important. Mark Rutte is the Prime Minister. Mark Rutte is the Prime Minister. Amsterdam is the capital. Prime Minister. Currency is Euro. It's a part of the Eurozone. You could write one more thing now, right? Only about 50%, only about 50% of the country's area, only about 50% of the country's area exceeds 1 meter, 1 meter above sea level, above sea level. So just about 1 meter, 3.3 feet. You can say 3.2 also, but just about 50%. Think about it. I mean, it's neither land, neither means under land, that's how the name comes. Neither, Nether, neither in English means low. Okay, so neither lands, low lands. Next point. About 26% of the country's area lies below sea level. Below sea level. And that makes it a world power because they've learned, look, if it's below sea level, how do we manage? Floods are a recurrent problem here. So is salt water, seepage and all that stuff. So what they've done is they've become, Israel, pretty much like Israel. Necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity pushes people to do things to survive, to flourish. Look, Israel is surrounded by enemy countries. So they, and the southern part of the country is desert. So they harnessed much of their power in two major ways. One, they became a defense superpower. They developed some of the world's most sophisticated weapons. And two, they became a power in agriculture, production. It's one of the world's biggest, one of the world's most proficient agriculture productions countries, my friends. So look at, when it comes to water management, it's Netherlands. You could write this. Netherlands is a global leader in converting wastewater to energy and in river hazard management. River hazard, HAZARD. Hazard means danger, floods and all that. Management. Okay, chali. Okay, why don't we look at, is there anything that we would have, in terms of the choices? Yes, we could look at the choices. Poland is a country that we don't really discuss often. Poland's capital is Warsaw. It's a European country, Warsaw. Its president is Andrzej Duda. The currency is Zloty. It's a part of the European Union but not a member of the Eurozone. Zloty is a currency. To help mitigate the impact of the pandemic and aid economic revival, the RBI has said it would extend fresh support of about 50,000 crore to all India financial institutions for new lending in financial year 22. In this context, which of the following is not an all India financial institution? Well, all of them are. So, Exim Bank, Export Import Bank of India, you could write this, Export Import Bank of India, Chairman David Raskinha. NABARD's chairman we mentioned a while ago, Chintala Govindarajulu. SIDBI we mentioned, S. Raman is the new CEO, CMD. NHB's National Housing Board, Sarda Kumar Hota. Okay. Whom the following has topped the Forbes 35th annual list of the world's billionaires for the fourth year in a row. The report, the list came out recently, and it was headed by Jeff Bezos, the chairman of Amazon. Okay. Bill Gates, so his wealth was estimated to be about $171 billion. See, these numbers keep changing depending on the change in the share price of the holdings they have, Amazon and other companies. So the share prices go up and down, their fortunes also go up and down. Second is Elon Musk. Elon Musk, my friends, is you could write CEO of Tesla and SpaceX. Two companies, Tesla, SpaceX. This guy is also the chief technology officer of SpaceX. SpaceX is space exploration company. Okay. He is a co-founder of the Boring Company. He is a founder of Neuralink. A lot of companies. Okay. He is a founder of SpaceX also. He is a founder of PayPal. Bill Gates, is co-founder of Microsoft. He co-founded Microsoft along with, normally people do not know this guy's name. It is Paul Allen. So Paul Allen and Bill Gates started this company in April 1975. Bernard Arnault is the chairman of LVMH. This is a super luxury goods company. This company is full name, let me write: Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. It's okay if you don't remember. So a Louis Vuitton suitcase would cost you upwards of 5 lakh rupees. And the normal tote bag, girls use this kind of tote bags, would cost upwards of 3 lakh rupees. They start like that. Mark Zuckerberg is a co-founder and CEO of Facebook.com. Co-founder and CEO of Facebook.com. So that's a little about these guys. Baraka nuclear energy plant, the first nuclear energy station in the Arabian Peninsula, has recently started operations. This plant is in the United Arab Emirates. It's almost there, next to Qatar. See, this is Oman. Okay, this is United Arab Emirates. You see this small portion here? This is a line here. This belongs to Oman. 7 Emirats came together. 7 Emirat is a kingdom. 7 Emirats came together to form one country. That's why United Arab Emirat. Arab, just tell you, Arab, Turk, Persian are major ethnic groups. They are major ethnic groups. An ethnic group is a group of people who have more or less a common culture, a common language, bound by customs, traditions, a common way of life, more or less, okay, not always, more or less. So the Arabs believe that they are the true, these are the people who are the true followers of Islam. Look, this is what they say. And they always hated the Turks and Persians. Turks, you can see Turkey, the north, and you have this Central Asian region, the entire Turks, Afghanistan, up there, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, all that stuff, Turkmenistan. They don't go along well. They just don't see eye to eye with the Persians, Iranians. Okay, and this is Iran. This is Iran. Now, Iran, see, you know what? You may wonder, why would the United Arab Emirates need nuclear energy, power plants, especially given that they have huge, in fact, the 7th largest petroleum reserves, 7th largest gas reserves, and the 6th largest petroleum reserves. Why? Because the UAE says that we want to diversify our energy sources. What if tomorrow we run out of these fossil fuels? So why don't we look at the names of the top nations with petroleum reserves. Top nations with petroleum reserves. Top nations, petroleum reserves. Right, 1. So the country with the highest petroleum reserves, I will tell you either top 7 or top 10, whatever comes to my mind. If I remember it, I'll tell you. 1. Venezuela. So the highest reserves of petrol in the world are in this country, Venezuela. You write like this. See, please make sure you don't put a dot here. When you put a dot after 1, 2 dot, 3 dot, the dot makes the number serial. So it's a serial number. We are not writing serial numbers. We are ranking countries. Okay. 1. Venezuela. 2. Saudi Arabia. 3. Canada. So Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Canada. 4. Iran. 5. Next door, west of Iran, Iraq. 5. Iraq. Down south from Iraq, 6. Kuwait. 7. UAE. In fact, both in oil and petrol, they are the 7th actually, not 6th, 7th. So Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Canada, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait. What is this country? United Arab Emirates. Next, so we have come to 7 now. 8. Russia. RUSSIA, Russia. 9. Libya, LIBYA, Libya. 9. Libya. 10. United States. So we got 10, all top 10. So 7 UAE, 8 we mentioned was Russia, 9 Libya in North Africa, 10 United States. Now leave one line space, right? Top nations dash gas reserves. Underline that. 1. Russia. RUSSIA, Russia. 2. Iran. 3. Across the Persian Gulf. 3. Qatar. QATAR, Qatar. 4. Iraq. No. Qatar say at cross Atlantic. What is that place? United States. 4th, United States. 4 US. The US is the fourth largest reserves of natural gas. 4 United States. 5 Russia. 5 Saudi Arabia. I'm so sorry. 4 United States. 5 Russia. 5 Saudi Arabia. I right. It's easy. Sometimes we get confused about these things. Okay. 4 United States. 5 Saudi Arabia. Okay. 6 Turkey. No, not Turkey. Turkmenistan. Where's Turkmenistan? You go to, this is Iran. Above Iran you will find Turkmenistan like this. Okay. This is Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan. So we have 6 Turkmenistan, 7 UAE, 8 Venezuela. Venezuela is the largest petrol reserves, but the 8th largest gas reserves. Okay. 9 Nigeria. 10 China. So to repeat, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Russia 1, 2 Iran, 3 Qatar, 4 United States, 5 Saudi Arabia, 6 Turkmenistan, 7 UAE, 8 Venezuela, 9th Africa में Nigeria, 10th China. All countries have come. Okay. In partnership with which organization did the Minister of Chemicals and Fertilizers organize a dialogue under clean manufacturing in India, Swachh Udyog, and that's to be called Swachh Udyog, and host a national dialogue on excellence in innovation for competitive and sustainable chemicals manufacturing in India? UNIDO. What is that? UNIDO. So you could write this. UNIDO. Right. First point. United Nations Industrial Development Organization. United Nations Industrial Development Organization. Industrial Development Organization. Dash. Head office at Vienna. As you know, this is the capital of Austria. Vienna, Austria. And next, DG, Director General, Li Yong, in brackets, China. Lyon, China. Okay. Could we be looking at any of these organizations? We have been discussing WTO and WHO. We could look at 1 and 3. 3, United Nations Development Program. United Nations Development Program, UNDP, United Nations Development Program. Head office in New York City. Then the administrator, they don't have a DG or a Secretary General, they have someone called the administrator, Achim Steiner of Brazil, Germany, dual citizenship. Okay, I guess that should be fine, my friends. Or should we look at Unicef also? Unicef, write this, Unicef. United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. You can also call it in simple Pasha, you can also call it United Nations Children's Fund. Children's Fund. You don't have to use the word international and emergency. The words are. So, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund or International Children's Fund. Dash, head office, New York City. New York City. Dash, its executive director is Henriette Fore. She is from the United States. Henriette Fore, United States. Which country hosted the first meeting of the BRICS finance ministers and central bank governors for 2021 recently? India hosted this. 5 countries here, BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. We'll do one thing while we know about this. The rest of the countries, first 4, we could look at South Africa. The president is Cyril Ramaphosa. Cyril Ramaphosa. President Cyril Ramaphosa. Currency Rand. Currency Rand. Capitals 3. Cape Town. That's 1. 2. What is that place? Yeah. Bloemfontein. And 3. Okay. Pretoria. Pretoria. Which bank or institution will acquire 9.9% stake in Kerala-based finance infrastructure fund management company called KIFML? It's simply put Kerala Infrastructure Fund Management Limited. It is HDFC, not HDFC Bank, HDFC, Housing Development Finance Corporation. Housing Development Finance Corporation. It's a parent company of all HDFC Group. HDFC Finance Corporation. India's largest mortgage, the T is silent. D is silent, it's mortgage. India's largest mortgage and home finance company. You could write CEO KK Mistry. And the MD is Renu Karnad. MD. Chairman is Deepak Parekh, but these two are important now. They are on the show. CEO KK Mistry and MD Renu Karnad. Next. Which university has secured the first place among Indian universities and third position among top higher education institutions in India in the academic ranking of World Universities 2020? Well, it is the University of Calcutta. So I went through this list and I found the top 5. You could write this. RU top 5 Indian universities. Or top 5 Indian higher educational institutions. Underline that. 1 ranking, okay. Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. Number 2, IIT Madras. 3, University of Calcutta, 4 Delhi University, 5 IIT Delhi. Okay. Yeah. Next. Oh, the question went up, yeah. For which of the following items did the center approve a 10,738 crore production linked incentive scheme recently? All of them. Of this, for solar photovoltaic modules, there will be 4,500 crore. Okay, the rest, that is about 6,238 crore. Is it? That's it? Yeah. Would be for these two. So what's the idea? Why should we incentivize this? You could write this. PLI for, you write this. PLI for, you write this. Solar PV modules, ACs and LEDs. Write this, please. You know, I think in the past we have written for other industries as well. This is for this particular sector. In the past we have written for laptops, IT hardware and everything. So please write. Underline that. Okay, the title and everything. First point. Incentives of 4,500 crore. Incentives of 4,500 crore for solar PV modules and rupees 624838 crore 6238 crore for ACs and LEDs. ACs and LEDs. Over the next 5 years, the PLI scheme, production linked incentive scheme, is expected to lead is expected to lead to incremental production of 1,68,000 crore. Incremental production of 1,68,000 crore, comma, incremental investment of 7,920 crore, that is 7,920 crore. So investment will be this much, production will be that much, comma, exports worth 64,000 crore, exports worth 64,000 crore, and generate 4 lakh F4 4 lakh direct and indirect jobs. 4 lakhs direct and indirect employment opportunities. Cool, yeah. We wrote a lot of stuff. I love maps. In which country was the Indian naval ship Sarvekshak deployed recently for undertaking joint hydrographic service, scouring the oceans for minerals, whatever they're looking for, basically. You know, The answer, of course, is Mauritius. This is Mauritius. Oh, it's cut here. This is Mauritius. So you could write something here. Mauritius, if you want to write, we know about this place. Mauritius, Port Louis, capital. Port Louis. Port Louis. And the Prime Minister is, a while ago we mentioned his name, Pravind Jugnauth. Pravind Jugnauth. Okay. Next, Madagascar. 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 Capital, you see this place here, Antananarivo. I'll write it here. Antananarivo. Antananarivo is the capital. Next, President. Andre Rajoelina. Currency, Ariari. Capital, President. This currency. Last point, world's fourth biggest island by area. World's fourth biggest island by area. If I'm not wrong, this is the area. It could be 482 or 492. I think 4849. No, 5.92 lakh square kilometers. And you could write last point. World's second biggest island country. World's second biggest island country. Just island countries. Cool. Okay. Woman sprinter Duti Chand will be honored with the inaugural Veerni Award. This award was started by the government of Jharkhand. This is Duti Chand, is sprinter. You know, she's come from a very small place in Odisha, but extremely hard to get where she is today. She's a twice silver medalist in the Asian Games, and if I'm not wrong, she's won silver medals in the 100 and 200 meters. Okay. And you know, she's a medal prospect for India in the coming Olympic Games. Jharkhand's chief minister is she's also the 100 meters national champion. She holds a record for 100 meters national championship. She is a national record holder. Okay, Jharkhand's chief minister is Hemant Soren. Jharkhand's chief minister is Hemant Soren. She comes from Odisha, and chief minister is Naveen Patnaik. Naveen Patnaik. In a bid to promote digital payments banks, the RBI has increased the maximum end of day balance for payments banks to dash from the earlier limit of 1 lakh. Earlier it is 1 lakh, now 2 lakhs. What is 1 lakh and 2 lakh? Please write this. Payment banks, please write this. Payment banks are not allowed are not allowed to accept deposits of more than rupees 2 lakh from one account holder full stop. So maximum one can invest is 2 lakh rupees, full stop. These banks are not allowed to lend. They can't lend money. They can only collect deposits. Are not allowed to lend, full stop. They can promote, next point, they can provide services like fund transfer and bill payments. So you have Airtel Payments Bank. Can you borrow? You can't, but you can make payments through that. That's what they are about. Cool banks. Which of the following statements these are true? In the case of SLR, banks are asked to have reserves of liquid assets only in cash. CRR requires SLR is statutory liquidity ratio. CRR is cash reserve ratio, requires banks to have reserves with the RBI in both cash and gold. MSF rate is always lower than repo rate. Reverse repo rate is always lower than repo rate. Only one statement is true. So in the next session, I'm going to bring to you all about CRR and SLR, why they are important to us. Not in this session, it's going to take a lot of time. So I'll open my remarks with this question. I'll bring this question into that session. I'll open the session with these two. Okay, I'm going to discuss about how money supply and interest rates get impacted because of a change in CRR, and how banks can avoid a run on the bank through SLR. Okay, we'll discuss all that stuff in the next session, not now. But what are the current repo rates and everything? In the recent RBI's first bi-monthly monetary policy statement released in the first week of April this year, there were some rates they came up with. Please write this. Policy rates, RBI policy rates. They are called policy rates. Okay. Repo rate 4%. Reverse repo, I think we mentioned it a while ago. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. Next, bank rate 4.25%. Marginal standing facility rate, MSF. Marginal standing facility rate 4.25%. I'll discuss all this, especially SLR and CRR in the next session. Okay. Kindly bear with me, because this is going to take a lot of time, at least half an hour, and we don't have that kind of time right now. Which of the following statements these are true with respect to the RTGS system? Real-time gross settlement. How do you pronounce this? Gross. We don't normally say gross. Real-time gross settlement, it's a continuous settlement of funds transfers individually on an order-by-order basis. Minimum amount to be remitted through RTGS is 2 lakhs, and there is no upper limit on the maximum. Yes, that's all it is. See, there are three major fund transfer systems. One is NEFT, IMS, and then RTGS. Okay, this is immediate payment services. This is National Electronic Funds Transfer. Typically, NEFT happens in batches of 30 minutes, whereas this is at once. That is, the moment you transfer, the amount is effected. That is, the transaction comes to effect. Next, what is the maximum amount for an FD, fixed deposit with the bank? Maximum, there is no upper limit. Maximum, there is no upper limit. Minimum, they say, is 10,000 rupees. 10,000 if you go through the bank branch. Bank branch is 10,000 rupees. But if you go with the app, mobile or app based, internet based, that is app or mobile, that is internet based banking, it is 5,000 rupees. Minimum FD is 5,000 rupees if you go by the electronic means. But if it's you walk into branch, it's the minimum amount is 10,000 rupees. Which of the following statements about IFSC is or wrong? IFSC stands for Indian Financial System Code. The code contains numbers only. All the bank branches of a particular bank have the same IFSC code. It is used by the National Electronic Funds Transfer System. 2 and 3 are incorrect. So why don't we write about IFSC? Please write about IFSC. Indian Financial System Code. Write this. Underline that. Right. It's a 11-digit alphanumeric code. 11-digit alphanumeric code. 11-digit alphanumeric code. Alphanumeric. Okay. Alphanumeric code. Next. Helps identify bank branches. Helps identify bank branches that deal with NEFT, IMPS. IMPS. A while ago I mentioned IMS. I think it's IMPS. NEFT, IMPS, and RTGS. So all kinds of online transactions can be affected through, if you know IFSC codes. Next, first 4 digits. So what is the 11-digit code about? So let's break this down. First 4 digits dash signify bank's name. Bank's name. This is the code of a bank, let's say. Okay. First 4. This is the bank's name, first 4. Okay. Next, fifth character is always a 0. Dash reserved for future use. Last 6 characters. Next point. Last 6 characters dash relate to the name of the branch. Relate to the name of the bank's branch. Boinapalli, let's say. This is Boina. Boina is Boinapalli in this case. Just for fun, I gave that. Okay. Next. National Farmers or Kisan Day. Kisan Divas is observed on December 23rd. Please write this. December 23rd. December 23rd. Right. You write this first and then write birthday of the fifth birthday of the fifth Prime Minister of India, Chaudhry Charan Singh. PM between 28th July 1979, and if I'm not wrong, it is 14th January 1980. PM between 28th July 1979 and 14th January 1980. He was PM for about 24 months. He had his party, the Janata Party coalition, had outside support from Indira Gandhi's Congress, but Indira Gandhi withdrew the support, and he said that Indira Gandhi withdrew the support, or no, I resigned it because Indira Gandhi wanted me to withdraw all the cases against her. So he took the moral high ground and he said that this is why I'm resigning. Well, what's true is another day, a story for another day. See, on 23rd December 1902, he was born. He was born on, 23rd December 1902. I remember that because that's a year I think Swami Vivekananda passed away. Yeah. That's a year, not the day, year. Okay, and he passed away in 1987. Chaudhry Charan Singh. And he has to spread awareness about green and clean energy, Saksham. But who is this minister? You could write this. Dharmendra Pradhan. Dharmendra Pradhan. Dharmendra Pradhan is Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Steel. Yeah, he heads two major ministries. One steel ministry, the other is petroleum and natural gas. Next. Then the Startup India International Summit organized by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade in virtual mode in January 2021. Prarambh, beginning. Prarambh is beginning. So you could write this. Prarambh dash celebrates or celebrated 5 years of the launch of Startup India, comma, which has played an important role in building a spirit of entrepreneurship. A lot of these apps had come about because of this. You have Coup, we discussed it, in the past. According to the status of leopard in India 2018 report, which state has topped the list with 3421 leopards? Madhya Pradesh. So India's status leopard population has increased by about 60% in the last 10 years. That's what the report said. Okay. Madhya Pradesh has the highest. Second is, if I'm not wrong, Karnataka, which is the year the Treaty of Paris was signed between Britain and America. Okay, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's the right thing, but it's not important here. Karnataka 1783, Madhya Pradesh 3421. Third is Maharashtra 1690. So the leopard population is the highest in Madhya Pradesh, and followed by Karnataka and Maharashtra. Environmentalists say that Uttarakhand's population would be at least 60% more than what the government had, what the estimates under in this report have come about. So we don't know, but while the concerns remain as to what's the true population of leopards in Uttarakhand, these are the numbers the government has given us. We'll go with this. Okay. Oh, that's about it then. That's it, guys. Thanks for being here. Have a lot of fun. Stay curious.